Hello and welcome to my third video in the Leadership Speak series. In this interview, I speak with Mr. Anupam Bansal, Executive Director at Liberty Shoes. Founded in 1954, Liberty Shoes has been fashioning footwear for well over 65 years and is a well-known Indian footwear brand. Mr. Bansal oversees retail sales at Liberty Shoes. Today, with 16 footwear brands and over 4,000 employees and rupees 665 crore annual turnover, India's iconic Liberty Shoes is a global brand present in 25 countries and is the only Indian company to be among the top 5 manufacturers of leather footwear in the world with exceeding turnover of $100 million. Mr. Anupam Bansal is a very successful second-generation entrepreneur who started his career at a low-level entry position in the footwear industry and has grown to take on the leadership role. Liberty has always been an industry leader, and keeping the top position in the face of rising competition has been Mr. Bansal's main challenge. In today's chat, I found it very interesting how Mr. Bansal, who was never a studious person or focused on book learning, he instead preferred to learn from practical experience and human interaction. One can learn valuable lessons from traveling and meeting people, and often the best way to succeed is simply be interested in finding out what your customers want. So what more can we learn from Mr. Bansal's life as a business leader? Let's ask and find out in the third episode of Leadership Speaks.
Good evening. I'm Rehan Khaneja. Thank you, Mr. Bansal, for joining me and giving me this opportunity to talk to you one-on-one. I would like to introduce to everyone that you're a successful entrepreneur and the Executive Director of Liberty Group. And so, with your permission, I would like to begin with the questions.
It will be my pleasure, Rehan.
Okay, sir. So the first question is, which college did you go to and what did you study?
Rehan, I went to Shriram College of Commerce. I think it's rated one of the top institutions in the country, and I did economics honors there.
And so, at what age did you realize what you wanted to study?
To be very honest, I came from a business family, so I realized that I wanted to do business administration. Unfortunately, I lost by 2 marks getting into BCom honors, and I struggled for 6 months, did economics honors. But later on, I got my interest going in economics honors, and I happy that I did economics honors. And I hire certain people who did BCom.
Wow, so that's amazing, sir. And the industry you're currently in is retail. Has it been your passion from the start?
Sure. So I initially did expertise on manufacturing design. I also went to a design school in Italy to learn footwear designing. Later on, while the retail industry was booming, I wanted to diversify from the manufacturing mindset to the consumer mindset. So I thought consumerism was best at retail, and I got a lot of learnings from retail business, what consumer really wanted. And initially, we were very manufacturing focused. So I think those were some interesting learnings I got during the retail phase. Very challenging though. It was new. Few of the malls which were there at that point of time, the rentals were obnoxious. So it is still tough time to make money in those malls. But as a brand connect, you need to be there because the consumer is there.
Right, sir. And did you ever think about switching industries, or did you ever switch industry?
Definitely, I think as a businessman, I need to keep on working on new ideas, and we need to keep on evolving. Yes, we need to keep on innovating it within our business to add new products. That's another innovation. At the same time, I'm going through the phase where I feel we need to do a lot more. So I also work a little bit with my wife's company, which is into gifting and invitation. That's the time I spend my spare time to explore new ideas, creativity. It also becomes my hobby job here.
Right, sir. And sir, obviously Liberty Shoes are always coming up with new designs to stay on trend. And so how do you generate new ideas?
I think new ideas come from people like you when you come and demand new products. So I meet a lot of people. They talk about fashion. I learn lot from youth, lot from youngsters. Also, any street you go to villages, you learn a lot. So I think the Indian consumer is ever evolving. Indian economy is quite, I would say, multi-dimension. So you need to take care of rich and famous at the same time, the middle class and the rural India. So you keep on learning. Also, there are a lot of diversities in the country because of India is so huge. You know, what people like in Kerala and what people like in Jammu and Kashmir is completely different. There might be commonalities. So whenever I travel, I learn a lot, and that's what keeps us going.
Right, of course. And so, what is one hobby you cherish, also feel in some way has helped you in becoming a successful entrepreneur?
That's a very tough one. I love eating, so you can see from my health. So food is something which I really cherish. I love to travel. Uh, I love to spend time with family. I think what it has helped me is to become more patient, to learn a lot of things constantly, and communication is what I've learned. Different culture thinking is what I've learned. So I think we learn every day is what I would like to say.
So, of course, I think patience and communication are very important. And so, one question that I actually would really like to know is what is your favorite book, and which one do you think you recommend for people like me, someone like in my age group?
That's a very difficult question for me because let me tell you, I'm not a very studious kind of a guy. I've learned more from experience and travel. So I've not been a great reader traditionally. So it becomes very difficult for me to even lie that I read a lot. But recently, my kids got me into some kind of a learning. So today I do a lot of podcast hearing, and I love to hear Jay Shetty. So I'm not a great I would say reader, but I am a great listener, and I love to hear Jay Shetty in the morning every day, which has become easier for me. Difficult for me to read, but audiobooks are something which I kind of really enjoy.
I think so. Even for me, I think picking up a book and reading is quite difficult sometimes. So I definitely will listen to one of the podcasts. So, and another question I have is, so where do you see your industry in, I say, 5 years or 7 years?
Very interesting question. I think with this pandemic, we have learned a lot. The kind of absorption with the e-commerce has increased. A lot of cultural changes are coming. People were running after a lot of desires. I think this last 2 years got a lot of people to think about needs. So as far as need is concerned, definitely footwear needs is here to stay. But I think a lot of shifts would happen in the consumption pattern, especially with the second wave coming in. Definitely in India, the footwear consumption is very low right now. It's about just about less than 2 pairs per year per person. And the worldwide in developed countries, it is about 6 pairs in a year. So we have a long way to go. Uh, Typically in developed countries, footwear sells more expensive than apparel. In India, it is a unique situation. Footwear is a lot cheaper than apparel. So it's a long way to go for industry. And I'm to keep on learning with every year passing by.
Right. So, and so obviously because of pandemic, so has anything in your mind changed about how you would evolve your business post pandemic?
Uh, we are evolving and we continue to evolve. Taking care of people, being more empathetic is something which I'm learning. Where capitalism is something which we thrived upon, I think today connecting with people and be more socialist in the approach is something which I feel after pandemic things have evolved. Companies who have connected better with their team have more sustainable growth, and people who take decisions too capitalist may have tough time in short term at least.
Of course, sir. And so I think one question I really wanted to ask you is, so if you could start all over again, what would you do differently?
What would I do differently?
Yeah.
Oh my God. To be very honest, we started as a leader uh, where there was just Bata as one company, and we were the first entrants. And we started with a very high leadership position. And today, when I see competition all around us, I find it more challenging. So we had a very exciting monopoly situation and then getting into the competition. So if I was to start again, I would say we should start with a competing position and reach to the monopoly position. So I think that's the way I would like to change.
Right. So, and I think, yeah, I totally agree with you, sir. And my last and final, and I think the most important question is, so what is your number one tip for people like me who want to become entrepreneurs when they grow up? So what do you think your number one tip is?
I think learn, and balance between theoretical learning, which is book learning, and practical learning. Spend a lot of time with family, observe a lot, get a lot of practical thinking, learnings. I think I would want you to, look at a lot of practical knowledge is what I feel would really help. I remember my days because I almost joined as almost like lowest level employee in the company. So I feel I know a lot of grassroots things. And today's new youth, because lack of exposure to the real world, get very limited learning. So I think hard work and struggle is a little bit important, according to me. So spend a lot of time with your parents, ask a lot of questions, be inquisitive, don't get driven by a lot of social media and information. A lot of it could be misleading. So I think being traditional is something which I feel will bring a lot of growth. Have optimistic ideas, have futuristic ideas, think about robots, but also think about how they were made and how they can be more, I would say, functional. A lot of people think technology is so simple. People use mobile without even realizing how that whole technology works. I think learning the depth is something which I feel would bring, a lot of learnings to the people.
Thank you so much, sir, for the amazing advice. I will definitely listen to it. And thank you so much, sir, for giving me this opportunity to be able to talk to you one-on-one.
No, it's my pleasure, and I learned a lot talking to you during this time. And I think it takes a lot of courage for a young person like you to have interaction. And you were super confident. You were great, and I wish you all the success. What are you planning to do right now? You're in class 10.
I'm actually in class 8 right now. I'm going to class.
Oh my God, that's way too young. You sound so professional already.
Thank you so much, sir.
And that concludes my chat with Mr. Anupam Bansal, Executive Director at Liberty Shoes Limited. Here are the two main lessons I learned from his leadership journey. First, the importance of constantly learning directly from consumers by interaction and travel. Today, India and the global market is becoming increasingly diverse. Whether it is a rich and famous customer in cities or a very budget-conscious buyer in rural India, there is no single solution to meet everyone's demands. If we stop meeting people and learning from them, we will quickly become out of touch with customers, and that would be very bad for business. And second, the best ideas and education comes from demanding customers. Book knowledge and MBA degrees are great to get started in your career, but that is not enough to achieve success. One should not be overconfident with our degrees, and neither should one be discouraged by our lack of top-class higher education. Long-term success depends more on our ability to constantly learn new things and adapt to the real-world situations. After every chat, I will be releasing a follow-up video and blog on key takeaways and learnings from that episode. So please watch that video as well. You can share your opinion in the comment section, and I'll do my best to respond to all of them. This is the third in a series of interviews with business leaders and people who have achieved success in their lives. My goal here is to learn from their experience and find out choices they have made that contributed to their success. If you enjoyed watching episode 3, please do hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll be releasing my next Leadership Speaks interview very soon. Till then, think positive, have big goals, and focus on the road ahead.